Well, good evening, and welcome, and thank you so much for joining me this Thursday night, Thursday the 5th of September, September morning. Yeah, thank you for those who are joining me on Facebook, those joining me on YouTube, TikTok, and also Instagram. Instagram, thank you so much over there. Of course, I've got a Jacqueline. How are you? I don't know where you are. You're always in some parts of the world. And for those also on TikTok, you can just say where you are hailing from. And remember to like and subscribe as well. Well, listen, this is Saturday. This is a Thursday night, not a Saturday night. And of course, I always try to touch base on some of the, what should I say, a few of the top news which is going around. And I think the first thing that I want to talk about tonight is Grenfell Tower findings. This is something which happened, I think it was 2017. 2017 was the fire that killed 72 people with the cladding and on this very high-rise building in Westminster. Very terrible thing. I actually remember going there and to show my condolences, and it was a moving feeling just going there. And secondly, I want to talk about the different candidates who are running for the leadership of the Conservative Party. There are 6 of them, but of course there was a first voting by the MPs, and it has been whittled down to 5. And then I've got to touch onto Jamaica because there have been some very developments in Jamaica regarding by-election, regarding MPs moving over. Some people are saying disrespect to MPs as well. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes as well for tonight. And of course, feel free to share whatever you think is your big news. I mean, there's so many things which are happening in the world. Of course, you can't touch everything. So let's go. Let's crack it. Well, it's a Thursday evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you and want to thank you so much for joining. And feel free as much as possible to actually joining on the show. Let's see what my brethren is saying here. Give me a link in from Jamaica. Here it comes. Oh, that's interesting. September the 5th, 2024, in keeping with the commitment previously made to the public, the Integrity Commission, which advised it as today submitted to Parliament for tabling a report of press investigation. Okay, I'll come to that in a few minutes as well. Let me just send something to the person who sent this particular information. I'm not sure that he's going to want to come on the show, but I just send it to him nevertheless. So therefore, he can actually tune in. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole world of politics, the whole world of representation is something which can leave a bad taste in your mouth or can leave a good taste in your mouth. And now before I start, I just want to share that I believe that in politics, what the winners are not who should be winning. The winners are normally, and what I can see, are the parties, the political parties. They're the one who are winning because they're the one who are more focused on what they can get. They're the one who are focused on having, what should I say, elections when they want to have the election, and not really in the interest of the people. And I'm seeing that right over, not just in Jamaica, but right over even in the UK, right over what's happening in the USA. there's so much sort of focus which is not really on the people. The people who are actually the power base, the people who are actually the ones that empower the parliamentarians, the one that empowers the congressman, the one that empowers the senators, the people. And somehow the people are deemed to be, should I say, left behind many times, you know. But let's talk about the Grenfell bit here, and this is something which is happening in the UK, which um, you know, the Grenfell inquiry final report sets out a chain of failures across the government, the private sector, led to Grenfell Tower becoming a death trap. The fire killed 72 people in 2017. The cladding already found to be the principal reason for the blaze rapid spread. I do recall the night. I do recall people in the UK was really transfixed and just really zero in on the television and as to see what was happening there. I do recall going down to Grenfell and taking some videos and being very sensitive how I take the videos as well. Because of course it was like a dead scene and it had this airy feeling about it. 72 people died. You know, so on Wednesday, which is yesterday, the final 1,700-page report of the 6-year public inquiry into the fire was published. There's always have these inquiries, you know, and the key points from the report: government was warned 25 years before the disaster struck. Government was warned 25 years before the disaster struck. Yes, it was under the Conservative, but it is showing that it was successive governments. The report by Sir Martin Moore Bick, a retired High Court judge, says experts sounded an alarm about cladding fires in 1992 after the 11-story Knowsley Heights Tower caught alight in Newton, Merseyside. So these claddings, which are on the side of the buildings, are something that just made the fire spread very quickly. 7 years later, there's another fire at Garner Court in Irvine, North Ayrshire. And the committee of MPs repeated the concerns again. But the flammable cladding wasn't banned because it had already been classed as meeting a British safety standard. Right? Fire tests also proved how dangerous the cladding was. Safety tests in 2001 revealed the type of cladding of concern burned violently. Results were kept confidential, and the government did not tighten any rules. Right? One did not understand the failure to act in relation to a matter of such importance, the inquiry panel actually said. You know, very heartbreaking, because what you're seeing is like the people are left again somewhat in the cold. 2010 coalition government, that was with the Conservative and Lib Dem, David Cameron and also Nick Clegg. Leadership, of course, at that time, not directly responsible. In 2010, the coalition government headed by David Cameron was on a mission to cut regulations, which it had dubbed as a red tape holding back British enterprise. The inquiry found this policy so dominated thinking government that even matters affecting the safety of life were ignored, delayed, or disregarded. The inquiry found the then housing department was poorly run and fire safety had been left in the hands of a relatively junior official. Privatization of key body added to the problems. Building Research Establishment, BRE, key body in the UK, that was set up 100 years ago to help deliver quality science-led standards for the construction industry. Government expert advisor. The BRE was privatized in 1997, but the inquiry said it then became exposed to unscrupulous product manufacturers. Dangers were deliberately concealed. That's one of the findings again from the Grenfell report. The inquiry found that there had been systematic dishonesty from those who made and sold the claddings. Arconic, a manufacturer, deliberately concealed the true extent of the dangers of the cladding used to wrap Grenfell Tower as a rainproof barrier. Fire testing commission showed the cladding performed poorly, but this information was not given to the BBA. Two firms made insulation behind the cladding panels. Council body showed indifference. So many. The inquiries said Grenfell's refit was poorly managed by contractors and the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. Sorry, I made a mistake. I said Westminster and Chelsea and Kensington. That was where the house, the property was. The inquiry said there had been a breakdown in trust and relations between the TMO and resident, which led to a serious failure to observe responsibilities. It showed persistent indifference to fire safety and the needs of vulnerable residents. When the TMO had to replace self-shutting fire doors in a block, a key safety measure to prevent spread of smoke and flames, it did not order the correct specification that would improve the chance of residents being rescued. Merry-go-round of buck passing. London Fire Brigade bosses didn't prepare their teams. So many failings. The LFB had known since the 2009 Lacanal fire that it faces challenges in fighting blazes in high-rise blocks. Firefighters who went into Grenfell had not been prepared for what they had to battle through to try to save lives. And so the disaster was a product of decades of failure. Inquiry pulls no punches in concluding that the path to disaster began many years ago. And it says the way building safety managed in England and Wales is seriously defective. And it recommends a single regulator answerable to a government minister so that officials and the industry can be held to account. So there we are with the findings of the Grenfell inquiry. The Grenfell findings, what had happened in 2017. Many lives lost. One is more than, even though it's 72. And my condolences to them. And many people are still suffering, or with all of this, it is bringing back the haunting memories of the night. Prosecution and criminal, they're saying they're going to be about another 2027 before that's going to happen. A lot of people are actually waiting to see what will happen when it comes on to who is going to be held accountable. Government, ministers, who is going to be held accountable? The private sector. But then this is actually linking up now with the water company. A big thing going on in the UK regarding the water company, whereby sewage and lots of these things are being pushed into the water, to the mainstream of the water. And at the same time, a lot of big companies, water companies, they are making some big bonuses. And I think there are laws they're trying to find to see how can some of these guys be prosecuted. Of course, you got the post office split, which is happening, that scandal. Of course, you've got the Windrush factor with that scandal. Who is going to be held accountable? Of course, again, you got slavery, and who is held accountable? Who is going to apologize for those things? Accountability and transparency is something which is lacking and which is fundamentally needed. There's a new government here now, which is the Labour Party, the Labour government. And the Labour government, of course, will want to make sure that they're singing differently than the Conservative, and that they will be one of the first things that the Prime Minister did, Sir Keir Starmer, was to apologize and say sorry on behalf of the government, even though it wasn't under their watch, it was under the Conservative watch. But as a duty to say sorry to the person and say that they are going to try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. Coincidentally, on the same day when the report was being done, there was a fire in Catford on a high-rise building. Fortunately, it wasn't cladded. Fortunately, no lives were lost. And fortunately, the fire brigade, over 70 firefighters, were able to take it out. There's also another fire at some other places as well. So what we're seeing is that we're not seeing the level of disaster in regards to fire, and I believe that they're trying as much as possible to do things. But it's a sad thing, and looking at the news, you see a lot of people talking about it, reflection, and memory about it, and it is something which is edged in the mindset of lots of people in the UK. So, I don't know if anybody have any relatives or anyone who experienced that, but that is something here. But the bigger thing, as I'm saying, is uh, politicians, government inquiry play a fundamental role in everything. It influences, it motivates decisions, and that's why I always keep saying, and I say this a lot of times, is that one can be involved in the regulation with the transparency, the accountability of government structures by being involved. You don't have to actually be an MP, you don't have to be a councillor, but you can be involved from a community level and to somehow to make a big difference. Because really and truly, and it's a fact, the powers that is given to the leaders in the MPs or so are totally from the people. People totally get it. And this leads me on now to the conservative leadership contest, which is happening very soon. So far, there were 6, and now there are 5. There were 6 persons, and now there are 5. And the 6, as I will put it up there, is Tom Tugendhat, Robert Jenrick, Kemi Badenoch, Mel Stride, Priti Patel, and James Cleverly. 6 persons contending to be the leader of the Conservative Party, and ultimately will be in a position if Labour messes up or whatever like that, and the Conservative come back into power, ultimately the Prime Minister. But as we know, many things can change at the same time. So who came out recently was Priti Patel. Priti Patel was the former Home Secretary. She gave her a pitch and everything, but there's 121 members of Parliament for Conservatives. There's 121. And of the 121, they made their vote. And with their vote, Priti Patel was out of it. I think she got 14 or so, based on the figures that I have. The figures are, let me see, go to Max. Yes. Where are the figures? Okay, the figures are here. I think I got a message about it. So Kemi Badenoch, she got 22. James Cleverly got 21. Robert Jenrick, he got 28. Priti Patel, she got 14. And Mel Stride, 16. Tom Tugendhat, 17. So who got the most of it was Robert Jenrick. Robert Jenrick got the most. And then after Robert Jenrick, then it was Kemi, and then James Cleverly. Now, if you see what is happening here at the same time, is the UK ready for a black prime minister in the form of Kemi? Unadulterated, totally, fully black. James Cleverly, mixed race, Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone mother, and I believe white father. Priti Patel, of course, she's out, but there's a strong possibility that Kemi Badenoch seemed to be the front runner next to Robert Jenrick. Is the UK, what do you think? Is the UK ready for a black prime minister? Is the Conservative ready for a black leader? There was Rishi Sunak, but the difference with Rishi Sunak was this. Rishi Sunak stood for leadership for the Conservative Party, but he wasn't successful. And then after Liz Truss went, it didn't go back to the voting. It actually was like an anointing. He was anointed for that position. And it's just a bit like, what's your name? Kamala Harris in America. It didn't go to a vote. It went to a sort of anointing, put him forward. So therefore, the British public did not actually voted for Rishi Sunak. Also, the Conservative membership did not actually vote for Rishi Sunak. So therefore, the test is there in a sense, and the test was recently that Rishi Sunak did not win the election. So one cannot say that the UK have a Asian black prime minister or so was voted in. No, he wasn't voted in. He was anointed and placed in. But this is going to be the full test. Is the UK ready for a black prime minister? Is the Conservative ready for a black leader? What do you say about that? I believe times have changed. I believe things are changing. I remember when there was Barack Obama. There's a man called Barack Obama who was on the scene. And Barack Obama, many people are saying that he wasn't going to be the president. He's not going to win. I remember that. I said anything is possible. I had my shows, and I had some discussions, and I had some parties that yes, we can part one, and yes, we can part two. Yes, we can part one with a big function I had. That was where he got the nomination, and then the campaign started. Yes, we can part one. And then he won. Yes, we can part two, where we had a big party in Brixton, and we followed through with the inauguration. Now that was big. That was big because at that time there was no sort of it never happened before. There wasn't ever been a black president, and this was new. People were crying. Jesse Jackson was crying and say, "I'm not the president. I'm not the president of Black America or white America. I'm president of the United States of America." But the whole thing about it was hope was alive. A lot of people believe hope. A lot of children saw hope, whereby they believe that they can do as much as they can. They believe that they can achieve a lot. And I believe that is what also Kamala Harris maybe is bringing to the table. But at the same time, I think with the advent of Barack Obama and going through Barack Obama, many people are saying, once bitten, twice shy. He never really do nothing for me. That's what some say. He never did much for me. That's what some were saying about Barack Obama. He didn't do much for me. So that's going to be a very touching one, and we're going to see how that unfolds. And the 121 members of Parliament for the Conservative will be voting and whittling it down to two, and the two will then be put to the party members. And at the Conservative conference, is it in October, November? Then it will be a runoff. And my bet is that it's going to be between, I think it could be between Robert Jenrick and Kemi Badenoch. Robert Jenrick and Kemi Badenoch. I believe that's where it's going to go. We'll see how it folds. And who's going to win? I don't know. But that depends on what you see. The leader's got to command certain things. He's got to command a level of respect for the whole nation. And I believe the leader also has got to somehow reach out to the youths. Got to have a youth factor. Got to have an X factor or a Gen Z factor or whatever like that. So that's the thing. And I believe those are going to be striking between Kemi Badenoch and possibly Robert Jenrick. So that's my brief overview of the elections. And as for America now, what's happening in America with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris? We left that to see in November. What I say for Kamala Harris is just keep the focus, tone down on the laughing, come alive with the policies, let the policies sail, you know, don't bother cuss off Donald Trump. And I'll say to Donald Trump as well, don't bother with Kamala Harris and cussing her off and all those sort of things. Just focus on the policies. Focus on the policies and just get around doing things as much as possible. Kamala Harris definitely need to be doing some interviews. Definitely need to be doing some interviews, and not having an interview with a minder. The minder I call Mr. Walls when she had an interview with CNN with Miss Banch. I forget what her name is, and Mr. Walls was there looking like he was a minder. Also, she's got to show that she has a power. She got to show that she's gonna be commander, and she's got to be sitting tall. And the way that she was looking, she was sitting down, and Mr. Walsh was sitting up, and she was looking a bit low. She needs to sit tall. Push her chest out, or so. So yeah, so that's the whole thing regarding America. But anyway, another thing I just wanted to talk about tonight, and normally I don't touch much on Jamaica, but I'm straddling two countries here. I am focused on what's happening in the UK, focusing on the issues in the UK. But at the same time, I can't help but glean over and look over and to see what's going on in Jamaica. There have been some developments which has been happening in Jamaica. And one of the developments which is happening in Jamaica is that Nigel Clark, who I mentioned the other day, and I think I did a discussion the other night, Nigel Clark, who is the Minister of Finance, has been, I don't know if he's been headhunted or been applied for a job with the International Monetary Fund. Nigel Clark is with the International Monetary Fund, and I think he's going to resign sometime in October. As a matter of fact, what's going to happen is he's going to have a seat vacant. You're going to have a ministry vacant. So you're going to have the Minister of Finance is going to be needed, and you're going to have a Member of Parliament, which is going to be missing. And therefore, there's going to be the need for by-election to fill those slots. But also, what has happened recently, and it's very interesting, is that in Northeast Centre, which I'm from, which covers all areas, once upon a time, there was an MP. And the MP was by the name of Marcia Smith. Marcia Smith, who is the daughter of Ernest Smith, who I know very well, attorney at law, who passed away from Brownstown. Remember Addison Park? They had a house on the hill. And Esther is her sister. She's a lawyer. She's been an MP in the 2020 intake. But somehow, there's a fallout with the people of Northeast Centre. Well, or party bearers from the Labour Party wasn't happy with her. She was a bit missing. So therefore, somehow she's being relegated to the side. And by being relegated to the side, I'm going to come on to the Integrity Commission bit. I just got something a while ago. And by being relegated to the side, there was another gentleman that came in on the scene, Mr. Matthew Samuda. So Mr. Matthew Samuda, who is the Minister of Work or Minister of Responsibility for Works or so in the Office of the Prime Minister, was somehow parachuted into the area. He's not from the Northeast Centre. And Mr. Samuda was the one doing all the work. He was the one being at every different things in Northeast Centre, and it's like he was a de facto MP. And I found that a bit very strange, I must say, because I believe that if an MP is not working or maybe is not showing up to things, what should happen is the machinery should be there to support, so that person can be very effective. A member of Parliament, without a doubt, have a team of persons, and that team is what they use to somewhat work their constituency. They've got funding, which they have. They give it out. They've got surgeries, which they do. Sometimes surgeries don't have to be directly with even the member of parliament, because they could be busy, like if they are ministers. But then someone who is there, like the office manager, someone who's in charge, is there to actually be there. And then you actually let the minister know where she should go, different places. But somehow I saw it like a total disrespect to this lady called Marsha Smith, whereby Mr. Samuda came in on the scene and was there doing it. If you're not happy with the lady, if you don't want the lady to be there, then call a by-election and move on with it. Or the people, and that is why the constitution reform, which has happened, need to have this bit called um, recalling a member of parliament, whereby the members within the constituency can recall that MP and get them out if they're not performing. And then also, if what is happening and that MP somehow is not performing as well, well, do the right thing sometime and resign. So it was a bit very underhanded and very disrespectful, I would say, because as far as I'm concerned, according to the Constitution, and it's happening here as well, if an elected representative is elected by the people of that area, they are the ones that should be functioning, not someone else. So it's total blatant disrespect. I would say disrespect to the people of Northeast Center. So this election now, so with her resigning from her seat, and therefore by her resigning, she was the Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, I believe. Well, automatically she becomes a private person. So therefore, she's not also a Minister of State. And I think likewise also Mr. Samuda, I understand, he also resigned from his seat and also resigned from the ministry because you see, so what is happening is there's a sort of engineering, because it seemed like one is positioning themselves for the hot seat, and the hot seat is the Minister of Finance. Who is to be the Minister of Finance? Is it Mr. Samuda that they're, or are they priming the Minister Favor, who is Minister of Education, or so? One don't know, but it seems so very it seems so very dodgy. But the other thing that I saw as well is the PNP now saying they're not going to be contesting. That is the People's National Party. They're not going to be contesting the election for this by-election, which nomination day is 11th of September, and election is going to be September the 30th. They're not going to contest it. There's a gentleman called Mr. Ryan Simpson, who is the standard bearer for that seat. Not going to be contested as well. I'm just getting these information because people are feeding me, and I started to do my research and see what is happening. And then I thought to myself and I said, who is winning? Who is winning at this time? Who are the winners? You know, because I understand that there's also a seat which is vacant in Trelawney by the former Speaker of the House, Ms. Dalrymple. That seat has been vacant for over a year. There's no elected representative for that seat. Or is it? Or is it that she said she's going to resign or she has resigned? So therefore, there are two seats which are vacant. The Prime Minister did not call for an election for that particular seat, which was very interesting, because that seat has been vacant for over a year, or near to a year. Why? Marsha Smith resigned in one day, and bam, an election is called. People's National Party say they are not going to contest it. No, I'm saying, who is the winner now? Who is winning? Who is winning is the political leadership and the political standard bearers. They're the ones who are winning. They are actually doing things for their favor, for their selfish favor. That's what I think. Who is losing are the people. The people are the one I believe are losing. The people are somewhat disempowered because they do not have someone that they can put their trust in and to vote in to be their members of parliament. There's only one choice. And this is why I say now that the independents now need to actually rise up. They're the ones that should be going in there, and they're the ones that should be saying, actually, now is our time. Because it's like the political elites are actually taking the people for idiots. That could never happen in the UK to a certain extent. Now there's something I just saw. Somebody sent me something about. No, there seem to be some developments there. Um, who you talking? Who you talking? England? No, this is about Jamaica. This is about Jamaica. Sorry for ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about Jamaica here. This is really about Jamaica. I'm going cross the channel here, touching on the UK initially with Grenfell, touching on the UK regarding the leadership for the Conservative Party. Who is going to be the leader? Is it going to be Kemi Badenoch? Is it going to be Robert Jenrick? Is it going to be James Cleverly? Is it going to be Tom Tugaman? Is it going to be Mel Stride? Who is going to be? Now, so I moved on over now into Jamaica. And I saw something which I got a while ago. It seemed like it came off the press. It says September the 5th. Today is September the 5th. And I read, Integrity Commission submits investigation report ruling out special report to Parliament for tabling. September the 5th, 2024. Which political party act on behalf of the party? Which political party act on behalf of the other the party? Can you rewrite that? Which political party act on behalf of the party? Did you meant the people? Just rewrite that. In keeping with its commitment previously made to the public, the Integrity Commission wishes to advise that it has today submitted to Parliament for tabling a report of investigation and an associate indicative ruling and full ruling of its Director of Corruption Prosecution. All right. Direction Prosecution. Let me see what this says here. The foregoing document was formally received and signed for at the Parliament at 11:42 a.m. today. That was recently in Jamaica. Hard copies of the investigative report were submitted in separate envelope on the cover of identical letters addressed to the following officials: the Most Honorable Juliet Holness, Speaker of the House; Honorable Hugh Clark, Deputy Speaker of the House; Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate; and Miss Colleen Lowe, Clerk to the House of Parliament. The associated indicative ruling, which is embodied in a second and separate letter, together with the full ruling of the Director of Corruption Prosecution in the matter, as well as Sections 36.3 special report, were also similarly submitted. A USB flash drive containing electronic PDF copies of all documents submitted was also conveyed for the attention of the clerk to the House. Section 36.3 of the Integrity Commission Act provides that the Commission may at any time submit a report relating to any particular matter which, in the opinion of the Commission, requires a special attention of the Parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to say that I'm not seeing anything here. The Integrity Commission anticipate that its investigation report, which was submitted pursuant to and its conformance with Section 54 of the Integrity Commission Act, together with the defense reference indicative ruling, full ruling, Section 6. Well, anyway, sometimes there's a big thing, but there's nothing really. I mean, there's more to this, ladies and gentlemen. There's more to this, but Right now, all they're talking about is that they have done this. One needs to look behind the scene. So therefore, if anyone have that information, Mr. Courtney, um, and anyone have any background to it, I'm sure there's some very key fundamental information in it. But that's for something. But the, the key thing which I just want to drive home is this: the people are losing. Yep, the people are losing. The political parties, they are winning. Whether they're in power or not, they are winning. But the people are losing. Who stands up and bell the cat? Who will stand and bell the cat? Who are the ones who are speaking up for the people? We're the public defender or so, if anything, for the people of Jamaica. Many years ago, when Marcus Garvey was around and Marcus Garvey was fighting and Marcus Garvey was doing his teachings and doing his writings, there was not the advent of, and I keep saying this all the while, there was not the advent of emails, social media, instantaneous messages going out, bam, to everyone. There wasn't that. That wasn't there. No way, that wasn't there. What was there was just a newspaper, and what was there was just um, the boats, horses, and all those sort of things, taking things around. But what was that common denominator? What was the common denominator that was able to galvanize the Negro race? What was it? That is something which is crucial. What was it? Was the era of colonialism, the aftermath of slavery, or direct slavery. So therefore, there was that felt need, and one was able to rally around a common cause. People at that time, guess what? They were also struggling. Bread, butter, hand to mouth. They were, but the movement was very strong. Today, when it comes on to things like let's go and demonstrate, let's go and stand our ground on certain things, I'll always hear all the while that people are not coming up because they're more focused on the bread and butter and what they can eat daily, you know. And I keep saying to myself, but hang on a second, it's not much different then than now, because there was food. As a matter of fact, it is much stronger now. But today there's a lot of distractions. Distractions are there that actually keep the people at bay. The people are really have the power, but they somehow feel that they are disempowered. And the political masses also like for people to think that way. But people are really have the power, and they need to realize that they're empowered. I guess that's going to be leadership. I guess that's going to be a realization, and it's happening everywhere. Because right now in the UK, what you know, years ago, a few days, a year ago or so, they were saying, get your hybrid cars, get your electric cars, and then you won't have to pay certain things. But now there's going to be a shortfall in the coffers of the Transport for London and government. So what they're saying now is, got to pay per mile. What they're saying now, the Blackwall Tunnel, you got to pay to go through somewhere you to be free for years. Left, right, and center. You're being taxed heavily, and there's going to be more tax by the Labour government. Well, guess what? The people just sit back and they just take it. The majority, the people who have the power, the people who are the ones that put persons in power, and those are in power, lick it hard upon the people. Very. And therefore, people will have to wake up and realize that they have the ultimate power. And they have got to be operating in a collective way. So I'll touch base on the Jamaica bit. I'll touch base on the US bit. I'll touch base on the UK bit. And all of them fall within the same ambit of things. But especially for Jamaica, I think the government, the opposition, the political, not masters, the political servants, they're more doing things for them to win. I believe that the local government, the election should be contested. And but at the same time, I can see whereby one don't want to get caught up into the antics of the government. I don't know. Because at the same time, I'm thinking the people are actually going to be saying we are left without a ship, without a rudder. We don't all want this particular line of leadership or so. Hi, sir. Hey, sir. What's the contact number to be on the show? Well, the question is it the contact number to call or the contact number to come in? I can give you. I think the best thing is to have the link to come on the show, and I can send you that link very quickly and very easily. The link to participate is coming up now. There's the link. And let me see something. And actually you can call in, just realize. Actually, I think you can call in. Let me just check something out. 1 second here, for a second. Just bear with me 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Bear with me 1 second. Just want to check with Sean if you wanted to come on now. Let me see. I mean, if you want to come on now. Anyone want to come on? Even on Instagram? Sorry, TikTok. Just send an invite. Let me see. Okay, the stage is set. For anyone who wants to come on to the discussion, I've actually opened the lines and I've actually opened the show for anyone to come in and to share your views. Yes, I've opened it. I've opened it. So let me know. Ta-da. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that I I think there's got to be a wake up call. There's got to be a wake up call, ladies and gentlemen. There's got to be a wake up call at this time of where we are now, as people, as individuals. There's got to be a wake up call. No more can there be business as usual. And when you look at even the whole bit regarding constitution reform, and you say, and we will say, now's an opportune time to really push the whole era of constitution reform, whereby these things don't happen or don't play out like that. But then the question you've got to ask is, where is the constitution reform discussion or debate going on? That seems like it's a dead end. One do not hear anything about that. And I'm referring to Jamaica, just so anyone is asking. I'm referring to Jamaica, you know, because while you're in the diaspora, I believe that one should be, as much as possible, very much attuned and in tune with your yard. You're in tune with what's happening in the UK, you're in tune with what's happening in the USA, but you also must be in tune with what's happening a yard. Not just about cartel, not just about music, but about the development. Because when one look at things, one can say in a way, wow, things are looking great in Jamaica. Things are looking fantastic. Then someone showed me the other day with it was one apple, not an apple, it was a tomato, and there was also a sweet pepper, and it was about $828 for it, Jamaican dollars, 828, 838 respectively. And when one look at it, when one actually look at it, that's actually near to about £4 UK money. And then for £4 UK money, you can get so much more apples, not apples, sweet pepper, and also tomato. And you think about how much of the people can actually survive with all of this. So therefore, so the upper class, they're actually benefiting massively, and they're able to feel it. They're not feeling it because they're actually wreaking havoc somewhat upon the lower caste people, you know. And the question is, who is actually speaking up for the people? Who is actually speaking up for the people? Who is going to bail the cat? And one of the things that I'm doing, I was speaking to Mr. Ronnie Thwaites the other day. I'm going to actually touch base with some of these very senior persons in Jamaica and have that conversation with them, because I believe that there's got to be an awakening. There's got to be an awakening, because it cannot be done by a few, but it's got to be a massive groundswell. The people are being disrespected. The people are being taken for a ride. And that shouldn't happen when the people are actually the powerhouse, the ones that give over the power to the politicians. The politicians are actually the servants of the people. I'm going to be talking more about this as time. And I watch how the election unfold. We watch how the Nigel Clark unfold. We watch how St. Mary, the Trelawney unfold. and we see if there's going to, and being to the fact now that the PNP, the People's National Party, is saying that they are not going to be standing or running or putting anyone forward for any of these by-elections, only for local government elections. That means to say that more than likely, when Nigel Clark move out, then they might just do 2 elections, one in Trelawney and one for Nigel Clark. And leading up to the general election. What can I say? Well, ladies and gentlemen, well, Sean, I didn't see you. Sean Chambers, didn't see you. And that's it for tonight. I want to say have a good night, and God bless you. And Saturday night, Talk and Sip, we will be talking more about this, and I'll be getting some more guests. As a matter of fact, I want to get some independent guys who are from these independent minor political parties in Jamaica, because I'm going to ask them a question. Where are you, UIC, Marcus Garvey Party? Where are you guys? You guys should be taking up the mantle. You need to be ready. To be ready to be that voice. And if it is money or so, when they want you to tap into the diaspora, tap into people, go from a minor level. Because guess what? From Barack Obama days, I didn't give anything to Barack Obama, but somehow I signed up to get some information from the USA. And to this day, every time there's an election in America, they keep changing it over, and they keep using my email address and keep asking me for money. So now the Kamala Harris team is now asking for money. The Biden team is now asking for money, or so like that. Everybody's going for it. Is that illegal? I'm in the UK, you know. So therefore, for Jamaicans or so, and for those who are wanting to get involved in political parties, I think you should get really serious and just go for on a begging spell. Get the people to know about you. Get out there, touch the people's hands, let them know about you, because there's got to be some change, and unite together. You know. So that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, listen, have a great night. Have a great Thursday evening. Peace out. We will back again on Saturday night. And all the best, those on Instagram, those on TikTok, and those on Facebook as well. Much appreciated. And want to thank you so much, and have a fantastic, and what should I say? A great evening. Okay? Peace out. Bye-bye.